Hello aspirants and welcome again to Legacy IAS Academy. Here we continue our detailed analysis of the PYQs for economy. Now we have already seen that in the last 11 years around 8 questions were asked from national income accounting. Now here we move on to money and money supply. Here again in the last 11 years, that is from 2015 to 2025, a total of 8 questions have been asked from this as well. In fact, there has been an exact repeat of a question from money and money supply in the year 2019 and 2021. Similar question was actually asked. Now this of course can be a part of, remember in the introductory class I've told you that we have broken down the banking in India chapter into multiple things: banking in India, monetary policy, money and money supply. So you can club it up with the banking in India, or you can look at in a separate manner as well. Now here immediately after national income accounting we are taking this up because quite basic questions have been asked related to the basics of Indian economy. So let us get started with respect to the PYQs on money and money supply. So the very first question asked in 2016, that means 2015 there was no question on that. In 2016 the question had been asked, right? Let us have a look at this with reference to bitcoins. Now bitcoins were quite prevalently in news. This is the year wherein I gave my prelims exam. So at that point of time the bitcoins were quite prevalent in news, and so this is basically like a current affairs question. But of course in the static class also we study about bitcoin and digital currency and cryptocurrency as well as digital currency, so on and so forth. With reference to bitcoin, which of the following statements is or are correct? All right, so bitcoins are what? Bitcoins are basically cryptocurrency. Crypto word is coming from the word encryption. It is encrypted. You need to decode, that is decrypt. Encryption means coding something. So these are coded. Each transaction is unique, and this is a decentralized method of transaction. There is not going to be a central authority over here. And in India, it is not regulated also. It is neither legal nor illegal, in the sense that it is not illegal to trade in Bitcoin in India. However, when you trade and make some profit, of course, it will be taxed as well. But it is not tracked or regulated by the RBI as of now. So let us have a look at this. Statement 1 says that bitcoins are tracked by the central banks of the countries. Now here it is making a statement wherein all the central banks of all the countries, they track it. Or not, just forget all the banks in all the countries. It is saying that bitcoins are tracked by the central banks of the countries. No, not necessarily. So the statement 1, which says that bitcoins are tracked, would be actually incorrect. Now the second statement is anyone. Of course this anyone, everyone are at times extreme statements, but not necessarily. For example, if I say anyone who is Indian with age above 18 can vote. So yes, except for there can be certain exception wherein if you are in jail then you will not be able to vote. But yes, generally yes. So in the same manner, anyone with a Bitcoin address can send and receive Bitcoin from anyone else with a Bitcoin address. Yes, that is correct. Statement 2 is correct. So this does not have statement 2. Now online payments can be sent without either seeking without either side knowing the identity of the other. In fact, the moment you get first statement is incorrect, this was out, only B and C were left. Now you know that second is correct, so only B should be your answer. But still, let us have a look at statement 3. Online payments can be sent without either side knowing the identity of the other. That is absolutely correct. It gives you anonymity as well. So both 2 and 3 are correct. So the correct option here will be B, that is 2 and 3. Right. Now in the explanation a bit already I have told you the first statement. So Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. This is not tracked by the Reserve Bank of India if we take into consideration. Of course, the Reserve Bank does not track, is what I've already told you. Then you have statement 2, Bitcoin. Does Bitcoin allow the transaction sending and receiving? Yes, it does. If the address is there, peer-to-peer transaction is allowed without the involvement of the intermediary, and Bitcoin transactions can be made pseudonymously. That means without revealing the identity. So both the statements 2 and 3 are correct. Let's move ahead. So then in 2017, that means there was no question on money and money supply, but in 2018, there is a question again. Let us have a look. Which one of the following statements correctly describes the meaning of legal tender? So they are asking what is the meaning of legal tender, right? The 500 rupee note that you have is a legal tender. If you just know this, let us see if we can identify just from the options. The money which is tendered in courts of law to defray. Defray means to pay. They have used this word. That's where, you know, in Hindi translations are there. So if people know Hindi, it becomes beneficial for them. But then it should not be the case, because that leads to biasness in favor of students who know Hindi, whose mother tongue is in Hindi. So maybe here, because see, defray. At first point of time, even I was thinking, what is this defray when you look at the PYQs and stuff? But it is pay. So you may not know it, but in Hindi translation, I know Hindi, so it may be easier for me, but difficult for others who don't have Hindi as the mother tongue. So maybe one suggestion or UPSC, which it can do, is, you know, your papers can be translated with respect to the language that you have selected. Remember, we have to select in mains the option, the compulsory language paper. So if I have selected Hindi, it comes in Hindi for me. If you have selected Kannada, it comes in Kannada for you. So that can be a possibility. Anyway, we have to deal with it. So let us move ahead. So the money which is tendered in courts of law to defray the fee of legal cases. Now, it is, you know, they are linking this legal status with respect to the court of law, money paid in the court of law. So this is trying to attract you to this answer. B, option B, the money which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in the settlement of his claims. Yes, that is correct. I'll explain it. But let us look at trying to eliminate. What if you don't know? Can you eliminate it? Option C, the bank money in the form of checks, drafts, bills of exchange, etc. No, absolutely not. This is not checks, drafts, etc. They are not legal tenders. The metallic money in circulation of a country. So is it the metallic money? No, it's not a metallic money. Then what is fiat? What is legal tender? Legal tender is basically, it will have the backing of the government, like our 500 rupee note has, for example. And if you have taken a debt from someone, let's say of 1 lakh rupees, and you are repaying them back in 500 rupee notes, they cannot deny that payment. That means they are legally bound to accept that payment. See, if you are repaying them, let's say in terms of mobile phones, in terms of gold, silver, they can deny it, but they cannot deny the legal tender which is there. So the correct option is B, the money which is which a creditor is under compulsion to accept in settlement of his claims. Right, this question has been sourced. In fact, a lot of the money and money supply questions are sourced from the economy NCRT, specifically the 12 standards macroeconomy NCRT, which makes it important. Anyhow, these terms are studied in the standard books as well, but yes, you can solve it through the NCRTs as well. Next. Now, this question has been asked in 2019. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which of the following? See, I'll explain the concept of money multiplier. Let's say I have a 100 rupee note with me at my home, and I'm not bringing it in the market. It's there since last 1 year. It's not there in the market. But let's say today I decide to bring it in the market. Then what will happen? 100 rupees will come, but that 100 rupees will keep exchanging hands. I will buy something from someone, that someone will take that 100 rupees to someone else and buy something. Like this, it will keep on changing hands. That means what? Money is getting multiplied. The money is the same, but when it changes hands, it actually multiplies. Keeping that in mind, let us have a look. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? Increase in the cash reserve ratio? No, absolutely not. What is the concept of cash reserve ratio? It is the minimum amount of money that the scheduled commercial banks are required to keep aside with the RBI in the form of cash. So that is kept aside in so that if there is a need in the future in a difficult situation, that money can be used. So it's like a buffer which is kept aside. So of course it will not be the part of, it is not going to increase money multiplier effect. Next, increase in the banking habit of the population. Yes, that is now correct. Remember, I told you that money was lying at home. Now, if I rather have a banking habit, I deposit in the bank, withdraw, then deposit, fixed deposit, recurring deposit. That's my banking habit. So, more and more money will come into the economy in circulation, leading to increase in the money multiplier effect. So this here is going to be the correct option. However, let us look at the next option, option C. Increase in the statutory liquidity ratio. This here was CRR, this here is SLR. Both are buffer ratios, reserve ratios. This is again the amount, minimum amount of money that the scheduled commercial banks are required to keep it with themselves in the form of cash, gold, or approved securities. Now here also the money is kept aside, so will not be increasing the money multiplier effect. They are basically the similar options. D, increase in the population of the country. Increase in the population of the country is not going to increase the money multiplier effect on its own. So D is incorrect. The correct option here is B, that is increase in the banking habit of the population. Again sourced from your macroeconomy NCERT. Let's move ahead. Here an example I have taken, that if the commercial banks gains deposit of 10 lakh rupees you have deposited. Now this will lead to the final money supply. Taking this money, the bank gives loans, for example, then people take loans and buy something, then that person buys something, leads to a final money supply of 50 lakh rupees. So the money multiplier will be 50 by 10, that is 5. Let's move ahead. The next question asked in 2020. So 2016 it was asked, then 2018, then 2019, then 2020. So almost regularly at least one question is being asked. 2020, if you withdraw 1 lakh rupees in cash from your demand deposit account at your bank, comma, the immediate effect on aggregate money supply in the economy will be what? That means you have a demand deposit. So from there, if you withdraw 1 lakh rupees, how will that affect the money supply in the economy is what is asked. Let us have a look. First option says that reduce it by 1 lakh rupees. Will it reduce? Absolutely not. It will not reduce. Money, when it was there in your demand deposit, it's in the market. In your hand, it's in the market. So it will not decrease. To increase by 1 lakh rupees, no. This is also incorrect. Why it is incorrect? Because they are mentioning here demand deposit. What is demand deposit? Demand deposit is a deposit from which you can demand your money anytime. Now we have UPI etc. also, so it's even faster. If I have a demand account, for example, I want to transfer payment to you, I can immediately do that. I want to buy something from that money, I can immediately do that. So my money in the demand deposit is as good as my money in my hand, because both are equally liquid, highly liquid, right? So it is neither going to decrease the money supply, of course not, and it will not increase also the money supply, because demand deposit is basically a ready to use deposit, and so is the cash in hand with you. So it will neither reduce nor increase. It will leave the money supply unchanged. What is option C? To increase by more than 1 lakh rupees? No, absolutely not. It is going to leave it completely unchanged. Again, the source is 12th standard macroeconomics NCERT. Next, asked in 2021. In 2021, in fact, I think 2 questions are asked from money and money supply. One of them is a repeat of the question asked in 2019. So let's have a look at it. In 2021, they asked which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry to the government of India. See, black money means a money which is coming from illegal sources, illegal activities, a money on which the tax will not be paid. So if a money on which tax is not being paid, what is the biggest issue that the government will face? That the government tax collection will go down, revenue collection will go down, correct? Let's see. Which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry to the government of India? A. Diversion of resources to the purchase of real estate and investment in luxury housing. See, huge part of black money on which tax is not paid, a small part of that will be used over here. So how can that be the biggest problem? The biggest problem is on all of that, tax was not paid. That is what the problem is. Right? So this is incorrect. Investment in unproductive activities and purchase of precious. So this should be precious. Purchase of precious stones, jewelry, gold. Again, it's just because tax is not paid. This is fair enough. No, you don't have to ensure that everyone does a very productive purchase only. You can also you can purchase luxury things. You can purchase precious stones, jewelry, etc. Also, see, large donations to political parties and growth of regionalism. Absolutely incorrect. Large donations to political parties, which will include the government of India's political party as well, they cannot be as such an objection, and it is not as such an objection anyhow. Option D, loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. That is now correct. This was to an extent a subjective question, but you can easily eliminate or guess the right answer over here. So which one of the following effects of creation of black money in India has been the main cause of worry to the government of India? Is the loss of revenue to the state exchequer due to tax evasion. Now remember, you should be knowing, remember what other things that you should study with respect to this. Since they have talked about tax evasion over here, please know what is tax evasion and what is tax avoidance. Tax avoidance is basically identifying the loophole in the system and ensuring that you don't have to pay taxes. Tax evasion is you are liable to pay taxes, but still you are not paying. That is evasion, and that is punishable. I hope that's clear. Let's move ahead to the next. 2021. As I said, an exact repeat of 2019 question. The money multiplier in an economy increases with which one of the following? Increase in the cash reserve ratio? Absolutely not. It keeps it. It does not increase the money multiplier effect because this is a buffer money. Statutory liquidity ratio, this is also a buffer money. I have told you. Increase in the banking habit of the people, yes. Increase in the population alone on its own is not going to increase the money multiplier effect. Okay. Again, similar source. As I told, the question is same as the one asked in 2019. Next, asked in 2023. So 2022, again, there was no question, but again, 23, 24, there will be, I think 24 also, there will be question. Let's move ahead. 2023, with reference to the central bank digital currencies, consider the following statements. It is possible to make payments in a digital currency without using US dollars or SWIFT system. Absolutely right. Digital currency. We are having our e-rupee as the digital currency. E-rupee as the digital currency. This is correct. Statement 2. A digital currency can be distributed with a condition programmed into it, such as time frame for spending it. Yes, you can do whatever you want with the digital currency, right? If there is something that is confusing, please understand there will be a possibility. That is why it is being asked. Science and technology related questions, generally if you come across words like can be, can do this, can do that, yes, it can do this. But anyway, factually also this is correct. So statement 1 and statement 2 both are correct. As I said, in 2024 also the question has been asked. Let us have a look at this question. Money and money supply. Okay, 2024. So almost every year it is being asked. Let's see. Consider the following statements in respect of the digital rupee. It is a sovereign currency. Now, what is the meaning of a sovereign currency? Sovereign, you know, India is a sovereign country. Sovereign means basically it can make its own decision. It is not under anyone's dominion, nothing like that. We are independent. We can make our own decisions. Now, it is a sovereign currency issued by the Reserve Bank of India, that is RBI, in alignment with the monetary policy. So sovereign currency here would mean, is it issued by the sovereign body, the RBI, or the government body is what you can say. Is it issued by the central bank? Yes, it is. So it is a sovereign currency and it is issued by Reserve Bank of India. That means it has the backing of the government, the nation. It's a national currency. It's not some private organization who has brought it out. So statement 1 is correct. When statement 1 is correct, I think this is removed. This option C is removed. Statement 2, it appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. Yes, it appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. But anyway, can we still solve it without this option? Let us have a look. Statement 3, it is insured against inflation by its very design. No, it cannot be, it is not insured against inflation by its design. Absolutely not. Inflation will be due to demand supply mismatch, due to increase in the production cost. All those things can still lead to inflation in this currency also. So statement 3 is incorrect. When 3 is incorrect, this is gone, and A and D is remaining. In both, 2 are present, so we don't have to worry about 2 anyhow. You can still mark it as correct. So the entire thing now depends on statement 4. It says it is freely convertible against commercial bank money and cash. That means, can you convert the digital currency into hard cash, etc.? Yes, you can. And again, it is freely convertible, means converting. Freely means at the market price, whatever is the market price, it can be easily converted. There will be not as such restrictions or penalization as such. So yes, that is a feature. So it becomes a bit of factual statement, and that is correct. Fourth is correct. Since fourth is correct, this is gone, and the correct option here will be D, that is 1, 2 and 4. So this is a bit about the digital currency. As I mentioned, e-rupee is a sovereign currency issued by the RBI and functions in alignment with the monetary policy of the Monetary Policy Committee. Like the paper currency, digital currency also appears as a liability on the RBI's balance sheet. Another thing to understand is, in that rupee, the hard cash, for example, you have the governor's signature, the governor of RBI signature. On top, what is written? If it's a 500 rupee note, it will be written that I promise the bearer of this 500 rupee note to give them a value of 500. So this is written underneath of which the RBI's governor has signed. That means if you take that note to the RBI has to give you 500 rupees worth of value. Can be in the form of gold, for example. So since they are liable to pay us back, so it's the liability on whose side? It's the liability on the bank side. So this is how you can derive this particular fact as well. Then the third statement was incorrect. It is not insulated from inflation. Value would be affected by inflation just like any other fiat currency. Demand, supply, production cost increases. All these things are going to cause a fluctuation in the value of that currency. Fourth, it is, yes, freely convertible into the bank deposit, and hence we have seen correct option 1, 2 and 4. So that is about it with respect to money supply. Subscribe to Legacy IAS Academy's YouTube channel and wait for the next lecture on inflation, which is one of the most important concept. I believe that if anyone understands inflation, they will not have any problem in understanding anything else. So in next session, I will see you with questions of previous years from UPSC on inflation. Thank you.